Good evening, everybody. System Chalk here with the 102nd episode of our first run through House of Light, playing as the archaeologist. And if you haven't figured this out yet, it is the expansion to Book of Hours. Sanskar Journal. I am the librarian of Hush House, and this journal will record what arose from my crime and my curse. The archaeologist's dearest wish when they came to the house was to record a history where their crime could be forgiven or redefined, but you can complete the game by recording any history. You might wish to begin your studies with a Skolakosophy wisdom. Memories, the archaeologist. I opened a tomb and found too late that it was a prison. The plague that I released is now my shadow, or perhaps I am its reflection. It is too late to set matters right, but it is never too late to protect the future from the past. In Hush House, I can do no harm. Perhaps I can even make amends. Now, if I manage my time well, which I almost never do, we can get the salon in, but I do have a lot to get through today. So one thing that I want to do is get a forge so that I can try and read the Carmine Petal revised. In addition to that, I'm going to want to try to level up Disciplines of the Hammer. And then I'm also going to want to try and bring in Corso, Hokabald, and Serena. So I think the first thing that I will do is try and invite Hokabald. Need to add my address book, or the writing case, a sturdy brass-cornered writing case which has been of service to at least 3 librarians at the house. Request Hokabald's presence. I have enough here to craft a letter inviting Hokabald to Brandkrug. Alright, so yeah, we're kind of already working on the things that I need. I do want to deal with the chickens at some point, but let's, I think we're going to focus on the goals that I stated, both in the end of the last episode as well as the start here. Now I just need to post it. So I also want to be a little careful in terms of how I manage the invitations, but we'll get them written before I worry about the rest. So bells and braziers. Now this one, if I want to use the cat wink, I can, but in this case we can sort of show what the typewriter does. So we'll request Serena's presence. I have enough here to craft a letter inviting Serena to Brandkrug. We'll do the same for Corso because he needs lanterns, so we can use Collar's desk for that as well. Denzel rarely works for free, but he won't take payment for helping a friend. And we'll start using him for memories right away. We may choose to open up one of the rooms, but it's not that big of a priority for me right now. I just have other things that I'd like to be doing with my Elements of the Soul. Also, did I remember? Yes, I did go to the Sweet Bones. Oh, the one thing I didn't work out was what I wanted to do with Hushery. Let me just take a quick second here. If I was smart, I wrote a note. Right, it was Sharps and Snow Stories, actually. Interesting. I thought I had a Snow Stories. Yeah, that's probably not happening. Sharps, on the other hand. It's not the most attractive set of options, but the White Book of Brittany might... 7, 9... I'm always just one shy on that one. Although, if I need, I've got the Wormwood Dream as an outside option. This is actually one of those cases where it might be good to use. But I'm going to need to restore it at the... Yeah, okay, you know what? The more I think of this... White Book of Brittany to move up Snow Stories. We can probably also turn that into something for Sharps. I mean, in an ideal world... Now we still need to do Sickle and Eclipse. Okay, I have a few ideas about how to use this, though. So I will use the Sweet Bones to bring back Whist for sure. So that gets us 8. Actually, that's more than I really need. But again, I don't have a 3 winter, so I need to use the Wormwood. Okay, actually, no. So that's fine. We use probably a health then. A health or a Faust. Yeah. In fact, if I do it that way, I don't think I have a desk that would allow me to use... Under normal circumstances, I would, but I think I've used up all my moon desks. Okay, fair enough. So we've got Invitation to Serena. One more for Corso. Come on. And I'll maybe just double check. Yep. Okay, so it's my choice in terms of when I want to invite these folks, but I would like to do it a little bit later in the day just so I don't tick down as much of their timer. It won't be that hard to get the other invitations out, but I'd rather not take the chance. So once everything's sort of a little realigned as far as the desk availability is concerned, I'm going to start... Ooh, it does a lot with silence, this man. I also think, based on all of this, I'm going to say we're not going to worry about buffing Denzel for the for opening a room. Our focus is going to be on generating as many things that we can put into the Tree of Wisdoms today. On top of, getting the salon ready, of course. All right, we've got the roast potatoes. I've been trying to keep track of the parts. So poached mackerel should be the last. Yep. Just as a precaution, I'll use the core here. Poached mackerel, a dish with forge, heart, and moon. Okay, on resonance, experiments in ithistry by the skysmith Everett Vincent. Vincent suggests percussion instruments that might be sympathetic to a number of hours and names. Some are more likely than others. Vincent uncontroversially suggests drums of various materials as the sympathetic instrument for the thunderskin and its ascendant drendozones. He proposes bells of bronze and iron for the lionsmith and the colonel. He spends some time on the design of a bee rattle for the malachite, but doesn't seem entirely confident of his findings. And we don't have a forge at this desk. Actually, we do have forge at the governor's desk, though. So if I take that, the metal, our highest level forge, if I'm not mistaken, is bells and... No, sorry, it's Anbury and Lapidary. Nope, it is bells and braziers. So the highest forge that I can bring with that would be the square. Yeah, so we're one short on the Carmine Petal. Now, I'm feeling pretty confident in terms of what we have. Maybe as a precaution, I should read another forge text. The heartbreak, of course, will be if Denzel already gives me one, but we can't always predict that. And that just kind of covers me for some eventualities. Okay. So, the Leonine Tantra. In the most notorious translation of the Leonine Tantra, Ashley Phillips is listed as the translator, but their existence is explicitly denied in the prologue. This confusion is characteristic of books which mention the Great Hooded Princes. The Tantra describes elliptically the great hooded princes and the multitudinous ways in which they influenced wars against foreign invaders of the land of the Great River, although in a sense they were also invaders. Lions can be created, not as children are created, nor as words are created, but as weapons are created. The great hooded princes learnt to create lions from their spyings on the affairs of the hours, and not all lions now serve the Golden General. So that's a fear for us to work with. Let's collect the elements of the soul first. The 5 letters on memory, Julian Cosley's epistolatory treatise on matters memorial and mnemotic, addressed to his then-friend Claude Hersault, the mystic and antiquarian. The book is partly a practical manual, expounding memory palace-like techniques, and partly an exploration of memory-rarefied modes in which sense or experience persist outside a mortal mind. This is an early work, and by Cosley's standards, it brims with optimism, even enthusiasm. If books, he suggests, are the memory that does not die, then perhaps with sufficient endeavors, memory's murderer might be contained. So some of these I want to prioritize putting into the memory as soon as possible, just because they're things Denzel might give me. Honey, the Comprehensive Guide, Harvey Haddington, pilot, polymath, confectioner, writes with great enthusiasm about the marvelous work of the bee. Haddington insists that all the primary aspects, nectar, scale, heart, lantern, moth, grail, are possessed by bees and expressed in honey. Clearly, he points out, there are only 6 primary aspects, as a honeycomb has only 6 angles. Ugal ink is prepared with these techniques, but so is Skinshuck mead, and only Skinshuck requires honey. Just as any beverage or foodstuff can be improved with the addition of honey, so any garden is improved with the presence of bees, even those bloody blumberendi. And the Raptures of Forculus, the first volume of Abbot Jeffrey's Hypothetical Theologic Debates in the Socratic mode, so I should switch the order there. If Janus were an hour, Forculus might be counted among his names, but that door remains closed, and so Forculus is not. Jeffrey discusses the signs that mark doors, which might permit or forbid access to certain thoughts and dreams, speculating carefully on which of the sanctioned hours might teach or govern each sign. Okay. So, hammer time. We will employ the metal here. So, satisfying to have come so far. Improve the skill to level 5. And I'm going to take a quick second here to write this out for myself, because I can definitely see myself getting confused. So, if I remember correctly, for Nyctodromy, it was going to be Edicts Liminal in 7. I'm not even going to worry about what we do to move up. And then I think it was going to be Disciplines of the Hammer in 6. And then it was kind of a tie between Sickle and Eclipse and Strings and Songs, but I think it's going to be Sickle in 5 and then Strings in 4. And that's just going to be because I have a leftover Disciplines of the Hammer, which fits with Sickle and Eclipse. Okay. So from there, I think I said it was going to be Snow Stories would be 5. And then Sharps. Yes, I was saying that it was going to be Snow Stories and Sharps. So actually, if I'm getting these extra memories, I should probably make Snow Stories 6 and Sharps the 5. But that kind of sucks for me because I'm putting all that effort into Snow Stories right now. Ugh. All right. So what this really should come down to is... Okay, so we'll take a Faust, we'll take White Book of Brittany, we'll take Wormwood Dream, and we will add Probably Inks of Containment works here. Yeah. Okay, so that's going to get me 2... So the 2 will get me to Snow Stories 6 for sure. But then that invites the question as to how I get sharps to 5, because I actually need 3 memories from that. I think I bit off more than I can chew. So the alternative there would be to say we do Snow Stories, 1 goes into the 5, then 1 goes into the sharps, and then we just simply raise the sharps when we need it. That's probably the least painful of the options. I also think the likelihood of me doing a Salon on this stream is very low now. But we'll still prepare for it. There is also the reasonable question for myself, how much do I want to rely on Denzel, and how much do I want to push the elements of the soul? Okay, so here's my game plan for now. When we get to the afternoon, we're going to invite the 3 guests, Hokebald, Serena, and Corso. I'm going to need to figure out what I want to serve all my guests for drinks. Well, we have 1 right now. We have a lot of people with Forge, so... Actually, you know what? I think we poured most of it. So we've got the Caterin Hero Second Flush of Sam. That's for Douglas. Let's maybe clear this out now, just so I can... At this point, it would be good for me to know what specific elements of the soul I have to work with. Good lord. Also, does this have Forge? It does. Okay. We are in a bit of luck. Okay, so that's 1 Forge. This is Lantern. I also have other coffee if I need Lantern, but don't need to make it complicated. So I have 2 Forge and 1 Lantern. I've got Serena, Hokebald. Fraser's going to want scale. So I think we're going to have to brew more cocoa. So what element of the soul do I give up for Fet? Brew over the fire, bring water to the boil, permit the potential here to express itself. Okay, we're good for the Salon once we have these served. I'd really like to find a way to my God. I should have been reading this right away. Okay. I mean, any old element of the soul will do here, but let's go for the tryst. So moon, a culmination. I can master this mystery, enough moon to match mystery moon. So I may actually be out of elements of the soul that I need at this point. Let's play it cautious. Okay, poured out. I do also need to pay attention to what the Carmine Petal wants. So I have most of the materials that I need for this, but if I am not on top of the if I'm not on top of the challenges, it doesn't really matter. The skill is now level 5. Its power aspects have also increased. Now, this is not going to be an easy one for me to level up more, so I also probably should work out a contingency plan for leveling, or for getting the memories that I need for this. Steam and scent both rise. It's ready. But at this point I have a lot on my plate, so I'm going to... I'm basically just going to take... At the moment I'm just going to kind of take the challenges as they come up, and then I'll make some decisions about how I want to spend the Salon. I'm less willing to delay the Salon next because I'm going to be inviting Hokabald, Serena, and Corso. Now I could push it off another day, but I think there's always going to be another thing to get in the way of doing the Salon when I want it. So I think probably it's better for me to just sort of declare closure at some point and say, you know, we're going to work with what we've been given. Okay, does a lot with Silence This Man, so this is exactly what I'm looking for. This will help me with Disciplines of the Hammer. Or possibly, maybe not Snow Stories, but Sharps or Sickle and Eclipse. And we have a poached mackerel, so that is it for the dishes, although I have a feeling this is going to be hard to... Oh, no, never mind. Okay, the War of the Roads, 1451 to 1551. Willis Ford describes the War of the Roads, an event in a history other than our own, in detail, from its beginnings as a martial philosophical dispute between the dawn and sunset roads of alchemy to a war which ravaged half of Europe. It is not now widely believed that the sons and daughters of the Red Rose were forged into immortals. Understandably, they are, after all, now all long dead. The forge itself devoured the greatest among them. The royalty of England, according to Willis Ford, became the sovereigns of the leashed flame, destroying or transforming their enemies, conquering Europe, establishing grand cathedrals to St. Spark. The alliance with the forge begins to take its toll. At last, the Bronze King undergoes his great misfortune and great debasement, and is afterwards known as the Copper King. His attempt to cheat the forge ends badly. The leashed flame is released, and the king's heirs are merely mortal sovereigns. Now, I'm going to start working on something else. So this is one of these days where I actually need more elements of the soul than I really appreciated. So I should be serving up some water and resting. We're already earning elements back at the Sweet Bones, but basically we're not going to be earning money at the Sweet Bones. We're going to be kind of drawing down all of that savings that we got from working there to make all of this happen. So let's move ahead, and the Fear and the Foresight. So I just need 3 more for Disciplines of the Hammer. Actually, at this point, let's say I don't think I need to use the Faust for anything. So I'll just double check. It's better for me to wait. I wanted to see if I could get a contradiction, but I actually don't know the memories that come out of some of these other books. So patience would be better. All right, opportunities. There's still a chance. So relevant furniture, memory, or weather. So I think the furniture would be best. We just need one forge furniture. But let's make sure that I actually have something forgy that I can throw at it. I think maybe one of the stools... No, the stools are winter. I'm pretty sure there's forged furniture for me to work with, but I'm really drawing a blank right now. So this is one of those things that's very, very good to check before... Okay, comfort is the relevant aspect. This is not a comfort. This is also not a comfort. Nope. There we go, the bell tower chair. Poured out. All right, so we're going to restore a... I actually don't think Shapt would be a bad idea for this one. It'll do the trick. Actually, I might as well go for metal. A quick nap in a warm bed with something comforting to drink while the winds chase the clouds and the clouds chase the sun. Okay, we'll pour out another one of those. I don't think I'm going to be able to make anything of it tonight, but we'll see. Better now. Might as well bring in the other metal. It is autumn when the leaves rustle. The silent landlady has served me apple pie with steamed cream in the window nook. And there's a spare sacrament acite, also known as grape Kool-Aid. Let's keep that. Ah, you know what? We can keep that in David Green's room. Also, at the turn of the century, Sir David Green, 8th librarian and former Nocturnal Branch superintendent, had this room refurnished to... refurnished to plan his explorations and to manage the operations of his many agents. So, Sir David Green, I meant to do this earlier and I forgot. So I think he goes here. He's a big one, so it's hard to get the description. There we go. A niche with a plaque who served two masters as best he could. All right. We will keep looking at the opportunity screen. And there's another water. Doesn't do anything for our immediate needs, but nice to have all the same. Again, I'm paranoid about missing out on the opportunity here, so we're not going to do the weather. We're also not going to do the memory, because now the forge can be used for the... regret. Ooh, excellent. So we are already 3 towards disciplines of the hammer. But yeah, so we can repurpose these memories for upgrading disciplines of the hammer. I also forgot to send out the invitations, so I'm going to do that right now. Stamp, envelope, send. Don't need to worry about the memory. And we'll probably go over the 30-minute mark, but I'm definitely going to want to make sure that I deal with the extra events with the furniture before I sign off for today. Take a moment, stretch my legs, and change my point of view. That brings us up to the required 12. And I don't think the impulse helps, but again, every little bit can potentially give us something that we need. Oh yes, actually, I have a way of getting what I need, at least for Disciplines of the Hammer. Renounce. If I cast an object into the sea, it will be lost, perhaps irretrievably. Alright, better now. Again, we are going to try and push forward with what we've got. If I'm going to be leveling up Snow Stories and Sharps, I think it might be smart to bring back a Tryst just in case. When something is cast to the sea, it rarely returns, although of course I did, so Edge and Winter are always good to work with. The Deaths of the Moon, a historical tract on various forms of survival after death. When the heart no longer beats, the Grail may keep the spirit in the body, and an appetite is indicated to sustain. Alukites are the best known, but not the only of this nature. This is the waning moon mode. The full moon mode is the intensification of one element of the soul to the point where ordinary sustention is unstable. Our protector, the generous of hosts, began of this nature, and its generosity remains ungentle. It is possible for the body's health or the heart's core to outpace the other elements, so that a static mode becomes impossible and growth proceeds in dramatic stages until balance remanifests. So that gives us assault, not enough for us to work with for our Disciplines of the Hammer, but it's something we can apply to Snow Stories. I think we're out. Okay, so I'm going to need to switch things around. Let's maybe make this the salt shelf. How do I even want to try this? Oh, and I gotta move the cocoa. All right. Fun. So I'll just fill up as much salt as I can, and then we'll start moving the others over. Okay, so secret threshold. Okay. Yeah, if I get any more salt, then I'm going to have to reshelve again, but we'll work with what we've got. The White Book of Brittany, a volume of death lore gifted to St. Brendan's by Brian of Brittany, who was made Earl of Cornwall after the Norman conquest. The white flower lies heavy, but the roots of the watchman's tree run deeper than snow. The white flower is described as the death of wisdom, but wisdom can pass into sleep, not death, when the rage of glass is subjected to sufficiently powerful winter aspect while ragged crossroads arts are invoked. So, a couple ragged crossroads for us. Hindsight. That's regrets, that's hindsight. Okay, so let's take a minute here just to sort out what I need. So this, and in fact, I know we're at time, but let me just write this out because I've got a to-do list here. Okay, so hammer +1. Let's say snow stories to 5. I know I wrote this down, but actually, let's say snow stories to 6. Kind of a bold plan because I'm going to need a whole bunch of elements of the, or I'm going to need a whole bunch of memories for it, but I think this is one that's worth shooting for. And in fact, I could repurpose the loss if I have, oh yeah, man. Using that regret is actually really tempting right now. Okay. So if I do that, then sharps is a +3. And I think that means, I actually think I'm 1 short on all of the memories that I need right now. No, I'm not. Because the sharps applies here. The last remaining question is, do I want to try and bring back the Wormwood Dream right now? Because I am really tight on elements of the soul right now. I think that's probably a decision for next time. But yeah, so here's broadly where I'm thinking about the playthrough right now. We don't have that much time left in the day, so what I should do is I think I'm going to try and push for the highest level skills that I can get. Actually, you know what? Let's not stand on ceremony on a couple of these things, because I do actually need the elements of the soul. So, Edicts Liminal. The precepts of limitation and division established by the enigmatic conclave of hours, sometimes called the Chancel. Sapphire, there's a prophecy of a glorious city that mortals could raise, but the hours of the Chancel have decreed that it will not exist. The decrees of the Chancel are not defied, but now and then they have been circumvented, and we might conceive that a city with walls of shining flint could be raised in dreams, in the Mansus. This would be Nyctodromy. So this gets me another element of the soul to work with, but that also raises the importance of getting Disciplines of the Hammer to level 6, because committing that will get me another element of the soul with which I could, in theory, advance Sickle and Eclipse to 5. Yeah, actually, you know what? I might even prioritize that over moving up the wintry stuff. And what that also potentially frees me up to do is, I'm kind of uncomfortable using too many elements of the soul prior to a Salon, but I could see myself using something like Shapt, which I have in abundance, sort of using that early in the day to be able to level up some of the stuff that'll get me whist. And then from there, that might be a virtuous cycle where I earn even more elements of the soul. So I like that idea. Also, I know I'm really pushing it on time, but I think, yeah, it looks like I'm not generating a contradiction, which is definitely a shame on me moment. So I'm definitely going to generate a contradiction because that's... Oh, hang on. Yikes. Okay. Yeah, if I really thought I was reading a book to generate a contradiction. Crap. That suggests to me I should probably be using this regret. Yeah. Okay. The smarter call is to move up Sickle and Eclipse. Darn. Now we can use the old wound. I gotta be careful with this. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For heaven's sake. I've had it available the whole time. Oh, no, I haven't. Oh, but I can use the old wound. Good lord. All right. Shopped is the appropriate one here. At last, I'm something of an authority in this. Okay, after that small panic. Either the Carmine Petal provides contradiction or it doesn't, but there's no reason for me to avoid. So if it provides contradiction, then I apply that to Snow Stories. And if it doesn't, I'm going to wish that I had read it anyway. So we're going to read The Ascendant. I'm going to generate another loss. Okay, again, working through a game plan, so our priority right now should be it should be Sickle and Eclipse, and that's because Sickle and Eclipse is going to get me access for Hushery, which is the reason why I want to level up Snow Stories. Snow Stories can benefit from Glimmering. And it can benefit from Confounding Parable. Sorry, I just needed to reconcile that in my head. That's fine. Okay. That is a very tight window, and I don't think I'm going to be able to do everything that I want, but I think I've positioned myself as well as I can. And I know I'm like 15 minutes over now, but I actually kind of need to... I'm going to idiot-proof the run here. Okay. The Carmine Petal Revisited, an apparently theoretical project proposed by Lionel of the Society of the Noble Endeavor, which might permit the imprisonment of a renegade forge name, a very heavily revised edition of an earlier and even more controversial work. The book was evidently revised sometime after the Wars of the Roads had ended, but even then this kind of discussion would have been politically difficult. Lionel suggests that the disciplines of Scar and Hammer together would be necessary to create such a prison, but that either on its own would serve to release its occupant. So there is our extra disciplines of the Hammer. We have a Foresight to work with. I don't actually think I have any use for this right now. So the order in which I'm going to do this is I'm going to want to put... Oh yeah, so first of all, I'm going to reorder my... This will eventually be 5, so... Okay, so disciplines of the hammer we apply to sickle and eclipse. And actually, I'll take disciplines of the hammer off my to-do list. So ideally, we put as much edge as we can to sickle and eclipse. And let me find the forge to, or foresight to put that. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to need to come up with 4 edge and moon to work with. So much so, actually, that I'll maybe repurpose that salt. Yeah, the salt, the regret, the contradiction. So I really actually just need 1 more edge, and I'm good to go. So... with that in mind, let's actually pick an edge to bring up. Torg's Cleansing is the right option there. So I'll employ a core. Now I gotta remember how to get Torg's Cleansing. Oh, that's actually going to be harder to do than I think. Because I still need to generate the required memories. Shucks. Okay. That's fine, because then we go to... So we apply the Arab, which technically denies me a... That technically denies me a way to level up. Oh, okay, never mind. So we can use the core after all, and then we just apply the saw. Cool. So sickle and eclipse we should have in the bag. That gets me down to hushery. Next priority will be snow stories. Which I think I'm already on my way to. I'm just putting a note to myself to check the memory math. So there's an outside chance that Snow Stories works out. The real question mark here is how far I can get sharps. The one saving grace here is that at the start with sharps, it's just 2 memories, and I know I get one of those memories from throwing away sand. So it's not ideal, but I think. Oh, God, that's right. Okay, yeah. So the Snow Stories being 6 actually doesn't help me. I do need that sharps at 5. Okay. Yeah, so it's going to be a little tricky at the start of the day, but we're about to have a double length stream. So I think, or video. So I think we're going to leave it there. I'm feeling generally okay about where we are in the playthrough. The real question here is how much of this stuff that I want to do, how much of that is actually going to be able to come into play in time for the salon. I think my best guess of where we're headed, we're probably not going to be able to get all of the memories that I want in time for the salon, but I may be able to angle it in a way that it's sort of minimally disruptive. What I mean by that is I may not have everything committed to the Tree of Wisdoms, But I think the things that I will give up to be able to get myself that option in the Tree of Wisdoms won't materially affect the salon. And it's really just a question, like, it's all well and good for me to say I'm going to use like extra shaft or whatever, but I need to make sure that I have enough desks that have sort of knock and forge. Now, the good news is I did just unlock Collar's desk, so that does give me a few more options in terms of the memories. But anyways, you've all been very patient. I'm going to stop yapping. I hope you all have a nice weekend, and we will see you Monday to sort of see the resolution of all of this madness. Until then, take care.